Hello, my name's Julie and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be using a guided page to plan my trip to Buckingham Palace in London. At the end of the video I'll come back and share some photos and insights about the day, just in case visiting the inside of Buckingham Palace is something you might be considering in the future. Initially I was going to use a plain piece of dot grid paper and add some boxes, but I found this in one of my guided journals and thought it was perfect for the job. I've actually been using these pages quite a lot recently. I've got a video coming up where I'm cleaning out my closet and deciding what to do with all my clothes, and I do really think they're very useful to have. A tip I've shared before is to make sure you photocopy them at least once so you have that master copy to use again. This is the guided journal I was using. It's an older one, though Happy Planner bring out new ones all the time, and there are 4 copies of each of the decorated pages. For this plan with me, I'm also going to be using the alphabet sticker book, a really old one, the Planner Babe sticker book, and I have this scrapbook pad because surprisingly I don't really have any British stickers, even though I live in the UK, and this has got a page with lots of icons that I can cut out and stick on. So this trip to London is the first time I've been since before the pandemic. In fact, it was 2019 that I last met up with my college friends, so I'm really looking forward to the trip. We decided to visit the inside of Buckingham Palace, particularly because there is the display of the coronation items, including the gown that Charles wore and Camilla's dress, so it seemed like the perfect time. I'm using the original Happy Planner alphabet sticker book to spell out London at the top of the page. I think this sticker book is the best of all the alphabet sticker books. It's very simple, 3 fonts in lots of different colours. I really love it. I don't travel very often and I am a fairly disorganised sort of person, so I really do need to list things out because at the moment I'm feeling quite overwhelmed with all the things I need to think of to get ready, so this is really going to help me prepare. I found some flight detail stickers in the Planner Babe sticker book, so I thought I would just cut the top off and be able to use those for the details of my train journey. I'm not too great with travel. I tend to get a little bit faint or sick on journeys. Last time I went to London, I tried the coach as a change, but it was so bumpy. I felt really sick. So I'm back to taking the train and hope that everything's going to be all right. Although we're in the middle of a mini heat wave at the moment, so it's not the best weather for a trip. I never seem to have much luck when meeting up with my college friends in London. The last time we met, it rained the entire day. And this trip, which we booked a few months ago, had the misfortune to be announced as a train strike day, so we had to cancel and book for another date. Now we've got this heat wave to contend with, so it really does seem like the gods are not smiling down on us. There are these little discs in the Planner Babe sticker book, and they're the perfect size for covering up the picture of the aeroplane on the flight stickers. I'm not quite sure what I'll use the rest of this box for, maybe just decoration or the schedule for the day. This is the important to-do box. I've got so many things running around in my head that it's going to help to put them all down and get them ticked off one by one. I'm using a Muji 0.38 because it has quite a fine tip and I've probably got quite a few things I need to fit in. First, I've got to print out my train ticket. Even though I can use the e-ticket on my phone, I always like to have a printed copy as a backup. I think that's just because I'm old school and not used to all this new technology. I've also got to print out my tickets to Buckingham Palace because you can get them converted into a 1-year pass at the end of the tour. So I'm planning on doing that in case I want to visit again. I'm not eating out in London, so I need to buy myself something to make a packed lunch. We'll probably eat before we go into the palace, probably in one of the parks. I also like to buy myself some sweets to enjoy on the journey. As I haven't been to London for a while, I'm going to need to find my Oyster card, which is a London travel card. So I've got a few ideas where it might be, but I'm not 100% sure. And I'll definitely need to put some money on it to pay for the tube train fares. As it's going to be such a hot day, I need to take plenty to drink with me. So I'm planning on taking a couple of bottles of my favourite orange squash, and then I also need to take a bottle of water because in Buckingham Palace you're not allowed any eating or drinking, but obviously they can't stop you drinking water. So even though I'm not a big water fan, I'm going to take that along because I think I will need it. I also need to check my backpack meets the measurement requirement set by Buckingham Palace. Otherwise, I'll have to find another bag. Although I've bought lots of pretty dresses lately, I think I'm going to go practical for the day and just wear a top and some short trousers. In this box, I'm going to write down the rules for Buckingham Palace so that I can get myself sorted and make sure my friends know about them. I think my backpack is on the small side, so I'm hoping that it is going to fit the measurements specified. They also have the rule that you can't have the backpacks on your back, which is a little bit of a nuisance, but I can understand it. So you have to actually carry them the whole time in your hand. So I'm hoping to ditch some of the things like my lunch before I go into the palace so that it will be a little bit lighter. There aren't any toilets at the start of the tour, only at the end. So we'll have to make sure that we go before we go in. One of the rules is no photos, which as a scrapbooker is a little bit disappointing. Obviously, I understand the rule, but it's going to be sad not to be able to take any shots of any of the insides of the palace. But I expect I'll be able to pick up some postcards in the gift shop at the end of the tour. And I must remember to take my printout of my ticket and get it stamped at the end of the tour, because even though the palace is only open a few months of the year, I might want to pay it a visit in 2024. In this box, I want to make a list of everything I'm going to take with me on the day in my backpack. It's going to be really useful because I can check through it and make sure I'm not leaving anything vital behind, such as my tickets or my phone. I'm a little bit worried that the battery on my phone might run out if I'm taking lots of photos outside of Buckingham Palace. So I'm thinking of either taking one of those old-fashioned things called a camera or even a second phone. Another ancient device I want to search for and see if I can find before this trip is my MP3 player, because I really like to listen to music on the train and I don't have headphones for my iPhone as far as I'm aware. So I always use my MP3 player. Some of you may not know what one of those is. I think I've got a tube map lying around somewhere, so I'll have to search for that, although I do think it will be rather out of date, but it will still be useful. I need to make sure I take some money with me, cash and card. As luck would have it, I actually got a new bank card last week, so I will have to activate it, otherwise I won't be able to use it for the trip. I'm not going to take too much food with me, but I need something for the journey back, and sweets are going to be a problem because my favourite sweets are chocolates, and chocolate is just no good in a heat wave. I'm thinking 3 drinks will be enough. I don't really want to take any more because of the weight of the bag and having to carry it around the palace, so I hope that's going to be enough. It's actually amazing how many things you do need for just a day trip out. I wear contact lenses, so I need to take my reading glasses with me because I can't read very well without them. And I also need to take my eye drops in case my eyes get really dry, and also just practical things like sunglasses because it's going to be really bright, and tissues and hand sanitizer because you still can't be too careful. I think that's more or less everything that I can think of for now, and there's some room at the bottom if I do want to add to this list later. I need to add charging devices to my list of to-do things. I want to make sure they're all fully charged and ready for the day. And also I know that I have mislaid my sunglasses and haven't been able to find them for the last few days, so I need to look those out ready for the trip. I'm just filling in the train times on these boxes, but because you have to be careful what details you put out on social media about locations, I'll fill most of that in later. I'm just going to white out the parts of the sticker that relate to flights. Don't forget, if you have stickers that you consider you can't use, take another look at them. There are always ways you can adapt them. I can't think of anything to use this box for, so I'm just going to white it out. That's great, all the more room for some decoration to finish with. I still seem to be having problems using this Tipp-Ex Minnie Mouse, and rather foolishly I bought another packet because it was going cheap in the back to school sales. So I really should go back to using the Tombow correction tape, which is much smoother and works much better. I've cut out some icons and got my quickie glue pen that I got from Craftelier earlier in the year, and because they're only small pieces of scrapbook paper, I'm going to use that to attach them to the page. If you haven't used a quickie glue pen before, they're really useful for small pieces of paper and sticking down the edges of stickers that won't stick very well. The glue is actually blue, so you can see it quite clearly on the white of the paper. I thought I'd put this Palace Guard sticker on the Buckingham Palace box because I should be seeing one of those on the day. I haven't had this quickie glue pen long enough to say how good it is at sticking things on. So we'll see if everything stays attached to this sheet after a few weeks or so. One of the things I really like about the glue is that because it's liquid glue, it doesn't dry instantly. So you do have a couple of seconds to wiggle around the piece of paper and get it into the exact position you want before it dries. So that's perfect for me because I am a bit of a perfectionist, as you may know, about getting my stickers straight. I think this will be the last icon I'll add to the page. And I'm thinking that in this area here, it might be nice to have a quote. I'm not quite sure if I've got any travel quotes, but I'll have a look and see what I can find. In the Happy Planner book, So Much Happy, I found the quote "Special Day," which seems very fitting. And in the space, I can write something like a special memory from the day. And I think that this is finished now. There's always room on the other side of the sheet if I want to use it for memory keeping, which I probably will want to do as I am a scrapbooker, and it would be nice to have some memories from the day. I'm going to stop filming now and then come back when I've had my trip to Buckingham Palace and tell you how it all went. I'm back from my trip and I thought I would show you what the page I made looks like now. You can see that I used a mild liner to cross off everything as I found it. Luckily, all the things I had to search for, I found really easily. The list was really useful for the things I needed in my backpack. I just ticked off all the things. I think the only thing I didn't put in was the paper and pen. Underneath the quote, I put the schedule for the day. I'm not great at timekeeping, so it really helps me to have those deadline times written down so that I'm not late. And then I decided in the last space to put the cost of the trip, always useful to look back and compare price of entry and price of tickets. So I thought that would be a good thing to do. The train journey went really well. There was lovely, cool aircon on the journey, and I spent about 10 minutes untangling the leads for my MP3 player. Here's a photo so that you know what one is. And I listened to some very old music, Never Gone by the Backstreet Boys. It was 32 degrees in London, really hot, so this fountain had a lot of interest from passers-by. And here I am walking towards Buckingham Palace. The famous balcony where you see the royals appearing was much lower than I expected. On the telly, it looks so much higher. I was feeling hot, but imagine what he must have felt like wearing that uniform. I really enjoyed the walk around inside. It was very packed and very hot. I actually used my tube map to fan myself the entire time. Everything looks so much more amazing close up. I really enjoyed seeing the Diamond Jubilee coach. That was stunning. And the chandeliers were just amazing. And the domed ceilings reminded me of Titanic. I'm sorry I can't show you any photos, but I wasn't allowed to take any. I really loved the paintings commissioned by Queen Victoria of her coronation, her wedding and the christening of her first child. And of course, everyone crowded round the gown that King Charles wore on his coronation and Queen Camilla's dress. That was really beautiful, lovely embroidery, and I didn't know that she had had her two dogs embroidered at the bottom of her dress. That was a really lovely touch. I didn't buy anything in the gift shop. I could have bought a teapot for £350, but I did queue for quite a while in the garden cafe, but it was worth it to have a sit down with a cup of tea after spending nearly 2 hours walking around the palace. I hope you enjoyed this video. I definitely recommend taking a trip around Buckingham Palace if you ever get the chance. Thanks for watching. You actually got to see me for a change in this video, and I hope you'll join me again very soon.